when somebody has cancer, this is the regimen that they have to be on, and this is what works for them, and you know that, right? But with fibro, it's just everybody has a different schedule of what their medications are, of what their exercise looks like, of just everything.
Hello everyone, this is Anthony for a new episode of your brother's podcast. Today I'm with a very special guest, Inez Kuz. I recently met Inez through the 10X Mentor community, and we instantly shared common values. Inez is living with Crohn's disease and fibromyalgia. She spent the last 6 years of her life trying to find plans and treatments to combat chronic pain. Despite these physical obstacles, she could figure out ways to be a successful entrepreneur, mother, wife, and contributor to the wealth and the wellness of everybody else around her through coaching, mentoring, and writing. She truly believes that no matter your physical or mental condition, you can go and achieve all your dreams. Inez, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Anthony. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
So Inez, my first question for you today is, I want you to tell me more about your business and your vision, because people don't know you right now. And of course, it's an intro, but what are you doing exactly? And what do you see doing with your business in the next couple of years? What is your big why right now?
Okay. The biggest why is really, when I was first diagnosed with these two conditions, there has to be a reason. I believe there's a reason for everything. And I just assume that I have this drive to help others. So the best way to help somebody is when you're put in the same position that they are. And so my big why is just to bring more focus and so that there's more help in the community for other people who have fibromyalgia, because it's not a common term that everybody's heard of. It's the disease is only about 40 years old. It used
Can
to
you
be
describe the symptoms to people who don't know this disease? What are the common symptoms?
Fibromyalgia used to be classified as arthritis because it's not in the joints and such as per se. It's just a pain. Basically, it's a switch inside you that is always on. Your pain switch is always on. So if you stub your toe, your brain says, "Ow, that hurts," right? The instant pain from the toe, it goes to your brain, says that hurts. With people who have fibromyalgia, our switch is just always on. So you can be just sitting doing nothing and have pain, right? It's something that for the causes for it are pretty much undetermined. They have multiple ideas as to why you get it, but nothing for certain. So my big why is just to help others who are struggling, because having this disease it's a huge struggle. And people do things to cover it up and combat that pain, but they're just not living a fulfilling life. And to me, that's just not right. Everybody deserves to lead a fulfilling life. And
Absolutely.
So I'm out there fighting for the little guy who's
The
got
warrior. The warrior. These little guys will become big guys and girls, I'm sure. There's no way around it. So if everything started 6 years ago, do you remember like a turning point where it just came to you in one moment, or it was gradual?
No, actually, the pain that I felt started when I was just a teenager.
Oh, okay.
And I've gone to the doctor multiple times, had multiple surgeries trying to figure out, why I have the pain that I do. And it just finally, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. And then 6 months later, went to a rheumatologist because I had been to physio and I had been for massages and I had tried all kinds of things and they just brought me more pain. And so finally, my doctor sent me to a rheumatologist and she said, "Yeah, you have fibromyalgia." And upon hearing that, I mean, I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
Once I started doing some reading on it, everything, I just checked all the boxes, right? That was just,
I see.
just the constantly being tired,
Hmm.
and just the chronic pain, the pain 365, 24/7. It's just always with you, right?
When you sleep, how is it?
Well, you don't sleep. That's a
Ah,
big
okay.
issue as well,
So
because you
insomnia is
wake
on top of
up,
everything. Wow.
right? That pain will wake you up. So, I take things to help me with sleep.
Hmm.
Before I had sleeping pills, I would sleep for maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. Then I'd be up for a couple hours, and then I'd sleep for a couple hours. So, it makes it difficult. I was a single
So I
parent
can imagine.
with
Yeah.
2 girls, and so trying to raise them and combat this disease at the same time was it was a great struggle, and there
Mm.
just wasn't enough resources out there to help me out, right? Every time I was looking for something, it wasn't there. So now I'm at the point in my life where those resources aren't there. I'm going to make those resources,
Hmm.
and that's where I'm at now. Is
Yeah.
that something needs to be done,
Hmm.
and the awareness and the help and the support that we need. It's time to do it on a large scale, because there's millions of people living with this condition,
Hmm.
and people don't even realize, and many people live with it, and it's diagnosed as something else,
Hmm.
right? Because even the medical community, a lot of the people in the medical community don't believe that this is even real,
Wow. Still to this day.
still to this day. Yeah,
Mm.
for sure.
Um, so how did you manage to have a normal job then? Like, how did you work at the same time? If you have pain all the time, was it even more difficult to just have a normal 9 to 5, or what was your career situation maybe a couple of years ago? And are you still in the same position now, or you're fully entrepreneur without any maybe stable other job? Yeah, that's interesting.
Right. So when I was diagnosed, because of being diagnosed with the Crohn's disease 6 months before, and I was in the hospital for a couple of weeks. So I was actually trying to heal from the Crohn's disease and get that under control.
Hmm.
And when it came to, having the pain the rest of my life, I would just do things that, that would try and help. So there was taking Tylenol, or doing lots of exercises, eating properly, things like that. Nothing really made it feel better, but I just thought, well, this is just my lot in life and the way that it is, right? So you just have to suck it up and deal with it, basically. But as the years go by, it progresses into something, that gets worse, obviously, because your body deteriorates, right, over time, and especially being female with the hormones and everything else, it's just another thing added on top of it, right? So I have, I was working full time about 4 years ago, 5 years ago. I would work Monday to Friday,
Hmm.
and Saturday and Sunday I would be in bed all
Mm.
day, because I couldn't
Always.
I couldn't do anything else, right? So I had really no quality of life. But I knew that I had to make that paycheck, and that was the most important thing. Um, Once COVID started, though, and I was actually laid off, because I was, the last one hired at my place of employment.
Yeah.
So I was the first one to go, right?
Hmm.
That To me, I took that as a sign that things were supposed to change, and I was supposed to
Yeah.
get on this path of helping others, and bringing more awareness
Hmm.
to the challenges that we face, and just trying to find ways that we can still lead a fulfilling life. And so I actually, 6 months into COVID, met a young man, and he actually has his own writing company, and
Hmm.
so I became an author. and wrote about it. Here's my book. Actually, I'll show
Here's the
you
book. Let's show the book. Of
my
course.
book.
Marketing,
Yeah.
girl. Let's go. Great to
So
success on Amazon. I will put the link in the
it's
description.
available on Amazon. Yeah. So that was the beginning of it. When I told my story, that was just the start of it. And since then, I've told my story many of times, and just keep bringing more awareness to it. And now I don't work a full-time position. I do work full-time from home.
Mm-hmm.
So it's some days I'm actually busier than when I did go outside of the home for work. I try
That's
every
a good
once in a
thing.
while, because I enjoy going out to work, right?
Yeah.
The industry that I was in, it's just so much fun, right? I have a journeyman certificate in as a parts technician. So I've managed and worked in multiple different types of parts stores, and it's just so much fun. I love my customers and the people that I get to work with, and it's just really a lot of fun for me. But it does take a lot out of me, and
Yeah.
but because of that too, now I know different options of what other people could possibly do, right? Those people who have fibro that need to work or that want to work, I have ideas for them, and ways that you can input some strategies so that you can have a full-time position and make a good wage and still support your family, right?
Yeah. That's beautiful. Uh, Maybe give me 2 or 3 examples of what is possible if you have fibro. Like, what kind of work can you do that you think is manageable if you listen to yourself, to your body? Just if anybody on the show listen to us and suffer from it, maybe just 2 or 3 examples like what you think is possible for them
Sure.
as a career.
Well, positions that are where you have an opportunity to both sit and stand,
Mm-hmm.
because you need that balance,
Yeah.
right? Sitting too long, everything just pretty much tightens up, and it
Welcome to
just,
my world.
yeah.
Sitting all day almost. I need to yoga, stretch. Otherwise, I'm like, oh, like old man.
Yeah, for sure. Right. Well, we all need that, right? I mean, I do
Yeah.
the same thing. I sit at my desk, and before I know it, it's 3 hours later, and I can barely get out of my chair.
Yeah.
So positions, yeah, that offer that balance of sitting and standing, and nothing that where you're lifting any heavy amounts or anything like
Mm-hmm.
that. That's not good. Um, everybody still is different. Their level of pain is different. How they manage it is different. So, there are some people with fibro that, I mean, they do have a very heavy labor type of job, and it works
Mm-hmm.
for them, right?
Okay.
Because
So it
everybody's
depends, really.
different. Yeah, you can't lump us all into one and say, okay, well, this is the only position that you can have,
No, of course, of course. I
because
understand.
we don't all feel that way, right? Um, it's I've often compared it to like having cancer. When somebody has cancer, this is the regimen that they have to be on, and this is what
Mhm.
works for them, and that, right? But with fibro, it's just everybody has a different schedule of what their
Yeah.
medications are, of what their exercise looks like, of just everything. Just it's every person's life is just totally different. You can't lump us in together whatsoever. No
No,
two people who have fibromyalgia take the same medications,
really.
right? Because
Case
some work
point.
and some don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you have to try many things to
exactly.
get to where you want.
It's a
Yeah.
lot of trial and error for sure.
Yeah. Ines, I have another question for you. How would you empower mentally people who are attached to a victim mentality concerning their condition? So, because I see for you, like you're a warrior, you conquered, even if you still feel it, you went through it. But what about people who say, oh, I cannot do this because I have this or I am like this, both mentally and physically? I think it's a plague in society now that instead of being empowered, people just will resign and say, well, this is just what I have and that's it. And it kills their power, their intuition, their creativity. So maybe some tips about that. It would be very interesting.
For sure. Absolutely. And I felt that way. You
I
know,
can
after
imagine.
I was diagnosed, it was why me? Why?
Yeah,
Why did
yeah.
this happen to me? Why, And as you and I both know, why is the worst possible question you can ever ask yourself, because you never come up with a good answer. And your mind will ramble on and come up with the craziest notions as to why you deserve, right,
Mm,
to get this disease. and
yeah.
and that's you know isn't the case whatsoever, but you have to work through it. You just acceptance with
Mm-hmm.
this condition is the most important thing. And it's like anything, there's a process, right? It I It's almost like the grieving process, right? I It was about a year it took me to get out from under the covers and stop feeling sorry for myself,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and just say, hey, like, I have to do something. This isn't me, right? I was always very outgoing and just chasing after, whatever. I had my two kids and usually had two jobs, and
Mm-hmm.
traveled with the girls and just always having fun and stuff. And that part all went away. For that full year, it was just, I just couldn't do it. And then I thought, you know what? If I'm not going to do this, nobody's going to do it for me.
And nobody.
Right. So yeah, acceptance is the most important thing that you have to do. You have to accept the new you, right? Deep down inside, you're still you, right? All
Yeah.
those, my personality is still the same.
Mm-hmm.
It just, my activity level is different, right? So understanding and being able to look yourself in the mirror and say, listen, I like who you are. You're wonderful, you're great, you're still, that great person that you were before. Now you have something that's just a challenge. It didn't happen to me, it happens through me, right?
Mm.
So you have to look at it that way. This victim mentality, these things happen to me. No, they happen through me, right? This challenge happened to me because I was meant to do something with it,
Yeah.
right? And I believe that others who have this, if they were able to speak about it, you know, maybe they could be helping to to make a change in the world, right? And to do something that we could all join together and make this easier to deal with, right? Um, just the changes that you have to make to your whole life, right? My entire life, I had to do a shift.
Mm-hmm.
Stress is the worst possible thing for this disease, but stress is the worst thing for everybody, right?
Yeah. Everybody has it. It's
Yeah,
just you have to find ways, and it takes time to figure out what works for you.
that's right.
Exactly.
So, understanding that you have to change your whole world, right? You can't go on functioning the way you were before, because you'll constantly be disappointed, right? You're setting yourself up to fail.
Yeah.
If beforehand you used to run 5 kilometers, every day, and that kind of slows down and stuff, and then you're diagnosed, and then it's like, well, I'm going to go run my 5K. Well, you can't. You know what I mean? You may never be able to do that again, and you have
And you
to
will judge
accept that.
yourself. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So to
for sure.
stop beating yourself up by if you have any limitations physically or in energy, to not whip yourself like, oh, I'm failure, I'm weak, or and just okay, what else can I do with the energy I have right now that
That's
is
right.
supporting my mission, my vision, or my goals? Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
So be super in tune with yourself, with your natural rhythm. And was it difficult for you to maybe speak about this to your family and friends, or they were supportive from the start?
No, my because my family is they're all very healthy. I'm the only one that has
Uh-huh.
any health issues.
Okay.
So I have one sibling. She's 8 years older than I am, and she couldn't ever understand or want to understand anything to do with what my health condition was.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, we don't speak. We haven't spoken in years. And it's good for me. Like for my health, it's great that she's not a part of my life anymore because of the fact that it's too stressful to be around her, because she doesn't understand, because she doesn't want to understand.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people are so wrapped up in their own lives that if it takes a little extra effort to be around you, they just can't do it. Right.
Nice.
So my parents were very scared. They instantly think that I'm going to die. And, so it's not a death sentence by any means. You can live with fibromyalgia way into your 80s, whatever. You just have to handle things a whole lot differently, right? But I found that we used to do like weekly meetings, family meetings and such,
Mm-hmm.
so that everybody was on the same page. If you're not having to repeat yourself, that is very helpful. Because the other thing that happens is with fibromyalgia, there's something called fibrofog, which I can forget what your question was 2 minutes ago, right?
Okay.
I have no idea what you said because it just goes. I don't know why. I've tried.
If it happens here, tell me, I will repeat. No problem.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, I tell my husband things 3-4 times, and he's like, "Yes, dear, I know," but he never, you know, never gets short with me or
Mm-hmm.
anything like that. He's just understanding with it, right?
Yeah.
And that's what you need to do is surround yourself with people who are understanding. Maybe they don't fully understand the disease, but they love you enough to try.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's multiple materials out there on the internet and stuff that you can find about what fibro pain feels like
Mm-hmm.
to somebody else. And I've printed those off, shared them with my parents and my kids, my husband and stuff, so that they could just start to understand a little bit of what I go through.
Yeah.
If you do things like that, then the understanding comes, and then they're more willing to say, okay, well, we may not be able to do this, but with you we can do this, right?
Makes
So
sense.
it's super important to have a caregiver, um, not somebody necessarily that takes care of you, okay,
Mm-hmm.
but somebody who always goes to the doctor's appointments with you.
Yeah.
They're just right on top of what medications you're taking,
Mm-hmm.
when you take them, where you need to be, those types of things. Using a calendar and having the whole family be a part of that calendar. So then they're not phoning me asking, what are you doing here? What's going on there? All they have to do is look in the calendar,
That's
right?
good.
A
Yeah.
lot of communication. It takes a lot of communication for you to just be proactive in this disease, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just have to be on top of it, and that way, that allows you to rest when you need to, right? You have to really listen to your body. When I need to rest, I need to rest, and I need to do it now,
Yeah.
because otherwise, I could rest for 2 hours today because I overdid
Mm-hmm.
it yesterday,
Uh-huh.
or I could overdo it today as well and be in bed for 2 days.
So
Right?
it's like the line is very, very little. And then if you cross
Yeah,
it, it's going to be a big, like a hangover of I work too much.
exactly. Well, or you do
Nice.
anything too much, right?
Yeah.
I still, I enjoy going fishing, and my husband and I, in the springtime, we go and pick fiddleheads and stuff in the bushes, but we go for like an hour because that's what I can handle, right?
Yeah. Excellent. A
So
point
about the
interesting for me.
buses.
Oh, you know what? I said something funny to my wife earlier. So we have renovations, we have repairs in the street right now, and for the last 3 days, and they're moving rocks with like.
Oh yes.
And I sent a video to her like, look at this. They're doing the most noise just before my podcast. God is testing me. I'm doing it anyway. There's no excuse. I'm just going live, so there's no no postponing or rescheduling. It's life. People have things to do, and we have this beautiful conversation. So no worries. Bus, babies, it will happen to different episodes. No
That's
problem.
right.
My next question was, so when you lost your job during COVID, so you decided, okay, I will become entrepreneur. It's very difficult for somebody to just go from employee to self-employed. And one of the goals of my podcast is to actually help people who will have this transition in their life, but maybe they're scared to make the big leap of faith in the unknown. So
Right.
you took this as an opportunity to, okay, start something new, but wasn't it like scary and like overwhelming? And how do you start when you have nothing as a business?
Well, I wasn't really starting from nothing.
Okay.
I had always had some sort of part-time business on the side, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I had gotten into financial services, and I've been doing that for about 6 years now. So it's just a way to make a little bit of extra money and help out some families, because I believe that education on money is just so very important.
Absolutely.
Just don't know everything that we need to, and we're depending on institutions to help us, but they're only worried about making their own money, right? So I wasn't starting off going, oh, I'm just going to be an entrepreneur and we'll call her
Mm-hmm.
good. I've always been that way. I've always had a little side hustle. So the thing that was different was writing the book. That was really jumping, into a big pond that I had no idea about. I had never done that before. And it was probably one of the best things that I've ever done in my life. I met some of the most interesting people and from all over the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
All with the same goals, the same vision. We're actually, a few of us have gotten together and we're doing different side projects now. So same thing like being, in grants program, the
Mm-hmm.
people that you meet and just like-minded
Absolutely.
individuals, right?
Yeah.
I
Networking.
really dove into personal development just to really learn more about myself
Mm-hmm.
and about what I was capable of. And because of COVID, everything was all of a sudden online, and most of the time it was free. So, and still to this day, there are a ton of free courses that
Yeah.
you can take. And I just learned all types of things that interested me, whether it was meditation or um, problem solving skills, just all types of things that interested me in were of interest to me. And then things that I could share, because I still had this in the back of my head. I need to help other people just like me.
Yeah.
So because of that, I was doing all this learning, and full well knowing that I'm going to pass all these things on to others. And so I started going online on Facebook and doing videos
Mm-hmm.
and just sharing, what I was learning and different types of things, because I think that we use these terms disabled and disease and this kind of thing, but those aren't really positive terms, right? When I look at it, it's not, I might be challenged by this, um, but I don't have that victim mentality, right?
Right.
I try and keep it positive. I am a
Yeah.
warrior. I'm a chronic pain warrior,
Yeah.
and that's what others are as well. That's how I see
Mm-hmm.
them, because all of us, have some deep inner strength that we just need to tap into, where we could be helping others and such. So, yes, it was difficult to say, okay, I'm not going to have a 9 to 5 job anymore, because that I had never done. I had always had a full-time position.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I don't know. I think if you really want something, you can go after it and go get it. Now I have this greater vision of what I can do for people who have certain disabilities, and including fibro and Crohn's and such. And
Mm-hmm.
it's growing into something huge, and it's just super exciting. I don't know. I get up
Yeah, I'm
every
happy
morning
to.
and I'm so super excited. Like this morning, I mean, to me, this is morning, right? We're talking early morning. The sun is just
Yeah.
rising. Okay.
Yeah. What time is it for you now?
It's 20 after 6 in the morning.
Uh-huh.
So
Oh,
we
really?
started this an
Oh,
hour
yeah, we have
ago.
10 hours difference. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yes. So I was up at 4 in the morning. I'm
Good
so
job.
excited. No coffee necessary.
No
It-
coffee necessary.
no, for sure not. I had my chai tea and it was, and
And
that's the
sugar
other
your
thing.
mission.
Like you just have to be good to yourself. Give yourself those good little things that make you feel happy. Small wins are better than no wins at all, right? So
Oh,
those little
quote of
things
the day.
you
Yeah, absolutely.
are
Awesome. Let me see what else I have for you here. Who or what is your biggest source of inspiration in life? Who or what is your biggest source of
oh,
inspiration? It can be a person, can be a thing, can be anything else in between. And I'm just curious how you keep this energy despite everything. And maybe if you have somebody that you admire, that okay, one day I want to be a bit like them, but staying myself.
um I don't really I haven't found anybody that that has fibro that I would really model after.
Hmm.
Uh,
So you'll be the
I
first
think
one.
because I don't go looking for that, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
go
absolutely.
looking for just people who inspire me and not necessarily somebody who has fibro. But my greatest inspiration is my children.
Ah,
I was a single parent for their whole lives, and so every day I get out of bed, it's for those girls. You know, I have a core purpose that is written out. It's on my wall. I look at it every single day, multiple times through the day.
hmm.
It keeps me staying on that course, um, because I know that once I fulfill whatever God's plan is for me, that that it's all going to be for those girls, right? Those girls
Yeah.
need to see that it's okay, you know, um, to have a challenge and still work through it and be successful. It's okay to cry. It's okay to say I'm sorry. It's okay to walk away from something, right? Even
Hmm.
when that something might be still good, but it's okay because it's not healthy for you, right? It's not good for you. So, showing them that, you can lead an inspiring life. I think that's just my guiding purpose, really. Everything is done for those girls, so that I just want to be that great role model for them, that they can say, well, you know what, mom did this. And if mom can do that, then I can too.
You know what you're telling me like right now, I can see for you like the archetype of being a mother for the world in general. So not just your kids, but if you hold the flame of your inspiration and you just go and you share your things, you share your message, not only your kids will be inspired by that. And when I say kids, it can be adults. It doesn't matter the age really. Like my show, it's Your Brother's Podcast, and I did an episode earlier to speak about this, but why the brother? The brother for me is somebody who is giving you wisdom, who wants you to succeed, who wants you
Yeah,
to tell you the truth when something is not for you. It doesn't matter if I'm 30 years old or 60 years old or 16 years old.
that's
I
right.
can still be your brother in terms of if it's a family, I want to take care of you and I want you to go and live your full potential. So if you can be the mother through your message, through your kids, through their kids, and other people who have some challenges, then that's an amazing immortal vision and mission, and it's just very inspiring.
For sure. That and it's funny too because I am very motherly. When
I can imagine.
my girls have their friends over and stuff, it's
Yeah.
yeah, they call me mom, and yeah, and I love them and hug them, and I'm there for them. And you want to talk, I'm here for you. Anything you need, I'll give you some guidance and such. And yeah, absolutely. I would mother anybody. It's just I my daughter actually brought home this girl once, and she was like, "Mom, do you think we can keep her? Like, she stay and live with us?"
Really?
And I was actually really thinking about adopting her.
Mm.
Because I hate, kids that they don't have support and they don't have people around them that love them. You don't need a ton of money, but you do need a ton of love
So
and
she was
support.
an orphan, or what was her situation?
Sorry.
She was an orphan, or what was her situation, this
No,
girl?
she was in the foster system because
Uh-huh.
her dad, she didn't know who he was,
Okay.
and her mom basically just kind of dropped her off there. She had drug
Hmm.
problems and such, and
Yeah.
so yeah. But it was, yeah, it came very close to me having three girls instead of two, which wouldn't have been a problem for me. It just, I don't know. I think that if you have room, that you should you should help, or if you don't have room, you should still help. Make room, right?
Mm. Find a way, at least, to be
Find a
present, and it's meals, love, nice conversations, helping with the homework or whatever is necessary
for sure.
to make a difference. Awesome. Yeah. Oh, um, so maybe we covered about this a bit, but maybe just to go a bit deeper. So if people they don't have fibro, but they feel exhausted and they feel drained, but they still have projects and deadlines to meet,
Mhm.
what should they do? Because I'm maybe even guilty of that. When I have many things, I want to finish things. I have a big to-do list. I want to cross all the check marks. But then the day after, I can wake up and have this fog that you speak about, just because my body, like, I went overboard the day before.
Right.
So if you know you have something to finish, it's important for you. Is there a way to find this energy in a different way, or it just you really should take a break and there's no solution, just then wait? And yeah, I don't know if you have any advice on that.
um I think that, we all have tons of things to do, right? The list can be as long as your arm, pretty much. I think that, if there's something that's very important that you need to get done, absolutely, stay focused on that. But I also believe in, timing things.
Hmm.
So something that's helped me a lot and kept me moving forward is I use the alarm on my phone. So it'll be, pay Siri half an hour, and that's my time spent on my emails. And
Uh-huh.
then, you know what I mean? That kind of
Yeah,
thing. Don't
I
go
do that too.
over that.
Hmm.
Don't hit the snooze button or anything like that. um, when you utilize that and do things in between time that gives back to you. So whether that be, 10 minutes to go for a walk around the block, or 20 minutes to have a nice lunch, maybe play with your little kid there or something
Yeah.
like that, right? You have to do those little things, because that's what's going to, get you moving forward to being great at those other things, right?
Hmm.
To sit there and struggle for hours because you're working on something, it's not going to turn out, the way you want it to, right? But there's, multiple things that you can do in between, right? Not to say that you don't focus on that. Absolutely. You have to get that done. That's very important. Um, I usually, the most important things I schedule first thing in the morning
Yeah.
when I'm fresh. And, I don't ever start a new project at, 3 or 4 in the afternoon. Never
Hmm.
do I do that. That's, that time there is spent, maybe outside for half an hour, enjoying that sunshine. I have a ton of flowers in my yard, so I go out and, water the flowers and stuff like that. So, just taking that time to break up your day a little bit will keep you more focused, and yeah, start on the tough stuff first thing in the morning. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a great
Absolutely.
advice.
When
I
you're fresh.
remember, yeah, reading the. Have you read the book, The One Thing by Gary Keller?
Yes. Yep.
Yes. So that's I remember the 6 hours time frame. Like your willpower is the strongest from when you wake up to 6 hours later. It doesn't mean you cannot do something else in the evening, but
No.
just scientifically speaking, like the hardest projects, and like let's say do a podcast, or maybe I'm an exception because my time zone is a bit different than everybody else. Any other guest, I have to fine tune that. But if you wake up at 6, from 6 to 2, put all the things that are the most creative, the most demanding for your brain, energy-wise, and then afternoon you can do maybe more socials or kind of catching up with emails, social media stuff, reading books, and family time at night and maybe in the morning too. So
Yeah.
that's very good advice. Yeah.
There's also something else that I do. I guess it all depends too on where you live and how much you drive, but I've turned my truck into basically a rolling university.
Oh.
So I have audiobooks, and every time I'm in the truck, that's what I listen to instead of listening to the radio, because you know what, that 10 minutes, that it takes me to get from here to the store kind of thing. Well, that's 10 minutes that just put some goodness into my brain, and it changes your outlook on life a little bit, and you're not yelling at the guy who cut you off and stuff like that, because that's just wasted energy anyways, right?
Oh, yeah, so much.
So yeah, just staying focused, keeping the main thing, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So how many books can you read or listen? Is it like one a week, one a month? What is your usual routine? And if you calculate for the year, approximate.
So last year I did about 13 books. A couple of them I did twice though, because when there's some books you need to listen to multiple times.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Like with good friends, you just need them again and again.
Exactly. Because you get something different every time.
Yeah.
Right. There's a book by Matthew McConaughey called Green Light. It's a story basically it's an autobiography, but he is so entertaining, and yet the value and the insight, he's a very deep man. And I would suggest that his book is, I think it's about 6 hours long. And I've listened to it multiple times. It's just I don't know. I got it just for fun kind of thing, but it turned out to be something that did teach me something, although it was very entertaining. I enjoy podcasts and things like that as well. I try and use my time wisely, right? So not too much for TV, things like that. Just, use all the time you have doing things that you love, right?
Yeah, perfect. Inez, so usually when I'm close to the end of my interviews, I like to ask people, let's imagine that this podcast becomes bigger, international, and people go and listen to your episode, and we want to extract like your life wisdom, your most important message that you have to share with the world in a nutshell. What would it be? So like something timeless and immortal that you think, like, if it's 5 years from now, 10 years from now, if YouTube is still cool in 2032, let's see, like go back and say, oh, she said that in 2022, it was like original. And what would be this message? You can just go with your intuition. What comes up?
I think that you have to be true to yourself. And with that truth, there comes See, now I wasn't prepared for that. There's a truth that's within you, that you have to be true to you, to your goals, to whatever your vision is. Don't ever stop fighting for your dreams. Okay, because the only person that can make those dreams happen is you. So just don't ever give up. We are all warriors in our own right. And with that mentality, you can do anything.
Beautiful.
Always remember that you are a warrior. You are good enough. You are just enough. You are enough, and you can do anything.
Perfect. So, Inez, how can we connect with you online? Do you have any website, social media? And if we want to learn more about your book, like anything else that we can put in the description so people can connect with you, what would be those accounts?
Sure. I'm on Facebook. So if you type in Inez Kuz, actually in Google, all my stuff comes up. I'm on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram. Yeah,
And your
I've got
book is on Amazon.
going. I have a coaching business as well for other fibro people challenged by fibro. So yeah,
So
type my name into a Google search and
it's
you'll
a
find.
unique name, so they will find you. There must not be
Absolutely.
1,000 Excellent. So guys, for me, so it's Anthony Rivest here. Same for me. You can find me LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. My show will also have actually today I created the Facebook page and Instagram account. So Your Brothers Podcast. You can follow me. Please like and subscribe for this video. It's really helping us grow. Comment anything. If you have any other guests that you think would be nice for the show, you can send me an email or a message. I will absolutely consider that. And I will also put in the link, a Patreon link, if you want to support me financially for this project. It will be very appreciated. Doesn't matter the amount, just to grow this project something very big and maybe pay to invite bigger guests. I don't know. I'm just throwing this in the universe, and what will be. But I appreciate you guys. I'm signing out. Thank you, Inez, for your time. It was a great call, and we'll talk again soon.
Sounds great. Thank you, Anthony.
Okay, thank you so much, guys. See you next time.